Hey guys, what's up? Me back here again. Just wanted to show you a couple of things here that I got. A couple projects that I started. First off, this is my newest prototype. Obviously you guys can tell it's going to be a mini arcade. Built it out of cardboard just to kind of get the measurements, see what it's going to look like. Button layout. A, B, X, Y, L1, R1, L2, R2, start and select here. I'm probably going to put some sort of power button on the side. The speakers will go underneath. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you think about the button layout. I thought it was kind of neat. Has a fairly ergonomic design. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with this. The way it looks. Definitely want to put a lighted marquee here, black bezel, or if I can find some sort of artwork. Same thing for the sides. It'll be black, and maybe I can find some sort of some vinyl artwork. Now, my original display was going to be this, and this is a old monitor out of my laptop that no longer works. It was a Dell netbook. And that screen would be pretty nice in there. But there's a setback to that. Number one, you need to buy a controller board. And the controller boards come from China. They're like an aftermarket type of thing. So what you do is you go on eBay and you find your number here. You would type this in, followed by controller board, and you'll get a bunch of listings of different controller boards. Excuse me, to power this, so you can run HDMI or AV cables to it. Otherwise, obviously, out of a laptop, you know, everything's integrated, so you can't just you know, plug it in. But it comes with the cable. The ribbon cable to go into here. It was, I think, $35 from China. But I will be buying that, but just not for this project. I might build two of these, one with the 7-inch screen and one with the 10-inch screen. And speaking of the 7-inch screen, here's my new official Raspberry Pi. Got this from Element 14, element14.com, or you can buy them also on Amazon. Right from Element 14. Oh, this box is tight. There we go. Okie dokie. So I already kind of assembled this. I tested it out. It looks beautiful. It's nice, compact. Has just this protective film over it. It's not all scratched up. So this here, simple to use. Other thing I liked about it is that it has a mounting bracket right on the back for the Pi, which is super awesome. This cable here just plugs into your camera, your display port, and the only other thing you need to do is right here, there's a couple of GPIO pins. There's a positive 5 volts and a ground. You just gotta hook them up right here. I just have taken them off to put in the package, but they give you a few more. I don't know what the other ones are for, but I just watched the tutorial on how to do it, and it worked perfectly fine. There was no setup, there was no script you had to run or anything silly. It was 100% plug and play. So that being said, this is gonna fit in here like this. Hold on. This is going to fit right in here like that. And that's kind of how it'll look. I think it's going to look super cool because it kind of has its own bezel, but it's super flat on the side, so you can get it like a nice flush mount, which I liked about it. Instead of having to mount it from behind and have to cut out some, you know, Lexan or whatever or acrylic. See, this has a super fine edge on it where you can mount it to something, and it has little mounting hole screws, so you could put some sort of tabs on it to hold it in place. I thought it was really cool for the price. You can also find these on Amazon, like I said. Element 14 display. Alright. The other cool thing I wanted to show you, I haven't decided on what I'm going to do with it yet, but I bought it basically because ETA Prime constantly talks about these cases. And I encourage you to follow him. He's an awesome guy. He shows you pretty much everything you need to know about Raspberry Pi, single board computers, emulation station, RetroPie, the whole 9 yards. But this case was really cool. I picked it up. It was on sale on Amazon. It's the Flirt case. It's a nice high quality case. It has a bottom, comes with some screws, comes with a little adhesive pad for the heatsink. But what's awesome about this case is that this is all aluminum, and it looks beautiful. The entire case is a heatsink. As you can see here, this makes contact with the CPU, and it distributes the heat throughout the case, and with no fan, no noise, no nothing. And ETA Prime did a few benchmarks with this case, and he showed that this case keeps up right with a case with a heatsink and a fan. So for the price of these cases, I'm not sure exactly how much I paid for it, but they're relatively inexpensive. I mean, for you to buy an aluminum case without this feature, and then you had to buy a fan, and you had to buy a heatsink, you're talking more money than this. So I thought it was really cool. I basically wanted to pick it up to see what it was all about, and I really like it. And I will use it for something. Maybe I'll use it for some sort of media player, Raspberry Pi media player or something on the back of my TV. Also, I picked up the Canna kit. I grabbed another Raspberry Pi. I thought it was kind of a cool thing. It came with a case that I actually gave to my buddy. But there's a couple cool things. It gives you the power supply, the Canna kit 5-volt 2-amp power supply, or 2.5-amp power supply. Good quality power supply. Also, which I really liked, I thought this was neat, was the adapter where you can put your micro SD card in, and you stick it right in the face of the USB on the top like this here, and then you stick it right in your computer, so you can burn your images, and it's compact, small. I think it was pretty cool. So that was another reason why I bought the this kit. Also comes with a couple of heat sinks, small heat sinks. These work good though, because I use these on pretty much all my projects. I used it on my PS1 project, and it did a good job of keeping everything cool. And yeah, it comes with the Raspberry Pi. It came with a micro SD card, 32 gigabyte preloaded with noobs. And I thought it was a good deal. I mean, you're not saving a ton of money. There's a couple things in here that I'm probably not going to use. I mean, this will definitely be one of them. The Raspberry Pi, the heat sinks I'll use. Pretty much everything I'll use. I may or may not use this, but in case I lose my micro SD card adapter that fits in my laptop, this would be good to have around. Also has a cool card, which I thought was helpful, because how many times have I had to go back to my computer and look up the GPIO pins on a Raspberry Pi? I thought this was awesome that they supplied this. It tells you every pin, what the pin does, and I thought it was really cool. That being said, on to my last thing. Getting to be a lengthy video, but I previously did a video on my Raspberry Pi Station PS1 build. So, since then I've made a couple of improvements. Number one, the original ports, I disconnected the adapter for it, the USB adapter for it. It was giving me problems with my Pi. It would work fine, and then all of a sudden my Pi would just freeze for no reason. and I thought it was a power issue or something else was wrong going on inside here. But come to find out, by process of elimination, I unplugged everything from the Pi and plugged my controller directly into the port here, and everything worked fine. And then I slowly started plugging things back in. Come to find out, it was that. So for now, these do not work. But what I did do, as you probably already saw, is I put USB ports in the front. This is where the memory card slots were. And what I did on this one, and I'll explain why I only have 3 in a minute. In the middle here, between these two, there is a little black piece of plastic, but you can't obviously see that on the video, but just so it's not an actual hole into the unit, because there is a LED light in here that I showed you in the previous video. So anyways, back to the USB cables. I ordered 4, and for some reason, I got 3. So I had to contact the seller, and I'm going through trying to get the 4th one. In the meantime, I might just buy another one to finish it. Inside, I'm not going to open it up today, because I got everything screwed together nice. But basically what I did is I bought, these are USB extension cables. I bought 4 of them, white. And I bought a 4-port USB hub. What I did is I took the hub apart, took the plastic off it, exposed the circuit board, and same thing I did with this. See this? This is the guy in the back here. I just took it out of the plastic. But what I did was I desoldered the USB ports on the board. And I took these wires and I cut them to length. They obviously had a female and a male end. So I cut the male end off, measured them to length to reach the USB port. The USB hub is sitting right here. So what I did is I just cut the USB cable, took the 4 wires, your positive, your D positive, D negative, and your ground, and just soldered them to the board. And it worked out perfectly. If you guys are really interested in seeing that, I will do a video on it. I wasn't planning on it, but what I was thinking about doing is after I add in the Ethernet in the back, which is going to replace this, I'm going to put the Ethernet plug here, because now I'll have the 4 USB ports in the front. So I really won't need this one in the back. The other improvement that I did is barrel power jack. Originally I had a micro USB here that I hacked into a charging cable, and I soldered it to the bottom of the Raspberry Pi. Just the same as the connections on the Nest Pi retro flag case. If you noticed, on the back of that case, the power is actually lower than the board. They just have 2 contacts that sit on I think it's P6 and P3, or whatever it is on the bottom. They're labeled. So I just soldered the wire to those solder pads and ran it right to here. It was awesome. It worked good until the inside of the plug wore out. And what was happening was my, the power would fall out of the Pi, which definitely isn't a good thing. So what I did is I went on Amazon, and I bought a 2.1 millimeter, 5 millimeter barrel jack extension cord. So what that gave me was a female end and a male end. So I did the same thing. I just took this out, and instead of the wires going to that, they go to this. And the other end, what I did was, let me see if I can find it. Right here. This is the regular CanaKit Pi power supply. This guy here. What I did was, on the other end, is I just spliced the barrel jack cord to the CanaKit cable. And all I had to do was I cut the end off, separated the wires, plugged it in and I made sure I tested to see which one was positive and which one was negative, because that would have been bad. So I determined that, kept the polarity the same, and now I have a cool little barrel plug that I can plug it into the Pi, and it'll never wear out. And barrel plugs, I think, are the best. They're more sturdy. It's just a way better connection, I believe, over the micro USB. Which I'll probably do that on the remainder of my projects. Either that or I won't buy these anymore. Unless I'm using like the flirt case where you'd have to use something like that. But any other projects I won't bother with micro USB connections, because they don't last. So last thing, I just wanted to show you something quick. I put some micro SD card adapters in here, just a place to store my cards, because I had no place to store them. So what's cool about it, I can pop that right in there. It holds it secure. It keeps it nice and clean, because it's always constantly on the contacts and no dust can get at it, and it's out of the way, and you can't see it once the lid's closed. So I thought that was a kind of neat little thing that I thought of there. But yeah, the next video I'll do on this is the last final USB port will be in. This will have Ethernet, and I'll show you the little ins and outs that I did, the USB hub and such. Until next time, guys, just wanted to give you an update on my progress on different projects that I'm doing. This is the next big one. Hope you guys like it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you on the next one.